Hello everybody, this is Howard the Teaser King with a very rare basketball lock. And to do this I'm going to talk psychology of basically sports. I have a two-team lock parlay in the NBA. I'm going to give it to you. I don't charge for basketball. The psychology in a playoff series is when two teams are even, you bet the loser back. When a team is going out and being eliminated, they play their best game, you also want to bet them. This has been very successful, and I've done it for 20 years. And it wins quite a high percentage. I don't have the number. I don't know if it's, 80%, 90%, whatever. But here's the lock. Basically, Toronto's playing Cleveland. And what happens in the NBA, the home team generally wins, especially this late in the playoffs, because the home teams are the better teams in the league. I mean, you're not playing really weak teams here. So these are the top 3 or 4 teams. Maybe San Antonio, which is out of it, and maybe Miami, which is out of it, are also up there. But clearly Toronto beat Miami, and Oklahoma City beat San Antonio. So we got the top 4 teams. Now here's the lock. Toronto beat Cleveland in both games. So everybody gets on Toronto, oh, look how good they are. They beat Cleveland twice in a row. Wrong. They beat them at home. What happens at home is the role players play better, the crowd's into it, stimulating the players. So justly, when you go on the road, not only does the road team falter more, but the home team has all the energy and their role players play really good, and the other team's role players play really bad. I mean, you have 1 or 2 stars on the team, but that's about it. So therefore, Cleveland wins by 50 points in the first 2 games. Toronto wins pretty strong in the Toronto game. Here you got game 5. Cleveland laying 10 or 10.5, whatever, at home in a must-win game. If they lose, they're down 3-2. Toronto wins game 6, it's all over. There's no way Cleveland's losing this game. And Cleveland will pound them. They'll win plus 20 by at least 20 points, if not more. It could be 30, but I'm saying at least 20 points. Spread's 10.5. It's too low. It was 13-14 in the first couple of games, and Cleveland easily won. The fact is Cleveland cannot afford to lose. They're coming off of 2 losses. And I know I say bet the loser back, but like tonight with Oklahoma City and with Toronto, you really had the home teams going, and I couldn't bet Toronto yesterday because they weren't off of a loss, but I didn't want to bet Cleveland because the game was in Toronto. Same thing here. Golden State's off of a loss. They're getting blown out again, and they will, they're going to lose, but because the game's at OKC. So now Golden State goes home down 3-1. There is no way they're losing. Oklahoma State will relax because that's what happens. This is the beauty of basketball series, playoff series psychology. The team that's down 3-1. Now, this is as long as the teams are good. Well, obviously, Golden State's the best team. So as long as you got a good team, and they're at home, and this is elimination, they're going to kill them. They're going to pound Oklahoma State and Oklahoma City. And Oklahoma City doesn't care because their psychology is we're up 3-1, and we'll win Game 6 and win the series. This is what they think. Golden State, they're down 3-1. They have to win the game. There's no question about it. They're laying, who knows, 5, 6 points. Well, how many do you think they're going to lay? I mean, Oklahoma City just beat them 3 out of 4. So there should be a cheap line. Let's say 5 or 6, maybe 7. I don't know. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Golden State's going to pound them. It's going to be a 20, 30-point game. You have 2 very good teams. You have the better teams at home, and they're going to blow out because they both have to win the game or they lose the series. There's no way Golden State is going to lose this game. There's no way Cleveland is going to lose that game. It's a double lock. You can parlay it. You can bet it straight up. However you want to do it. Teaser Kings locks are very, very strong, and I don't lock every game. If you notice, I'm in a bunch of Facebook betting and handicapping, what do you call them, groups. And I'll post just regular games. I've been monkeying around with baseball and basketball. And so I will post some. I'll start posting more on my Teaser King page on my Facebook. But basically, psychologically, the team that's down and they're at home and they need the game will win the game, unless they're just like Atlanta against Cleveland. It was such a mismatch, but Atlanta played very well the last game. And the same thing, Toronto-Miami. Toronto was at home in Game 7, but Miami won Game 6 at home. They had to win it. They won. Toronto goes home, and usually the home team wins Game 7. You've got to watch the mismatch. But I believe Golden State, Draymond Green looks all out of kilter. Curry looks out of kilter tonight. And the reason is they haven't made the adjustment. So they got the big guy Adams on Curry, basically shadowing him. So the key play is somebody's got to be wide open underneath the basket. That's the key. It's like Dennis Rodman when he played for the Pistons and the Bulls. You'd leave him open, he'd run to the rim and just throw the ball in front of the rim, let him make a dunk, and off you go. Well, that's all Golden State needs to do. Whoever this Adams is guarding needs to go to the front of the rim. He'll be wide open. You want Adams on Curry? Fine. But I don't like Curry's making some really stupid passes. He seems out of it. He's not hitting his shot, and he's got to be a better player than just shooting a three-point shot. He's got to be able to make assists. He's got to penetrate. This Adams guy can't possibly keep up with him. All he needs to do is drive on him and let him follow him. But he's getting hacked all over the place. The refs aren't calling anything. The matchup is favoring OKC a little bit, but I don't care what the matchup says in the next game. Golden State at home will be on fire. You can see how they're kind of flat tonight, Green and Curry. And until the third quarter, so is Klay Thompson. They'll come out on fire in Game 5. It's do or die. They're going to post a 30-point first quarter. They're just going to come out and kick their ass. Durant looks really weak tonight. He's bricking a lot of shots. Westbrook's Westbrook. Fine, somebody's got to score. But it's the psychology. When they go on the road and they know they can afford to lose, they won't play with the same emotion that they're playing here. So it's all about they're at home, they have the emotion. And that's really what the whole point is. Because they're at home, because they have the emotion, they look better. But the team goes on the road, and the other team's now at home. It's a totally different game. Look for Curry to get off. Look for Thompson to get off. Draymond Green's terrible. He'll be strong. All the other bench players will have big games. Golden State by 20. Cleveland by more than 20. Lock. You can do anyone. You can parlay it. You can play them straight. 2 locks. Absolutely. This is as strong as when I was locking Carolina and locking Western Kentucky and all my football locks. That, by the way, my football lock record was 69-15, 82%. Picking the game. So if I picked the game and I said Alabama's a lock, 82%, 69-15, and I'd play Alabama in 2 or 3 different teasers. So I'm not even counting all that. I'm just saying I locked Alabama, I locked Green Bay, I locked Pittsburgh, I locked Carolina, whoever I locked. So my locks, and I don't just do it, but these are 2 locks where you got Cleveland in a must-win, Golden State in a must-win at home. The other team, Toronto knows they can afford to lose. They won't lose the series, and they can win Game 6. And that's what happens. So Cleveland should win. Toronto wins Game 6. Cleveland wins Game 7. Golden State wins. And then OKC, I don't know if they'll win Game 6 at home, but let's look at the line. So far, Golden State's been favored both game and OKC. So when Golden State wins Game 5, take the dog in Game 6. Again, I don't know why Oklahoma State's not favored at home, but if they're a home dog again, you got to bet them. But look for Golden State to kill in Game 5, and then probably you bet the dog in Game 6, and if it goes 7, you bet Golden State to win Game 7. Same thing with Cleveland. Cleveland will win Game 5, Toronto will win Game 6, Cleveland will win Game 7. You bet the home team all 3 games. But the lock is because Cleveland lost 2 in a row. Look out. It's a 25-point blowout. At least you're laying 10. There you go. Teaser King. This is what I do. It's psychology, and I use it in football the very same way. Basically, I'm just trying to teach everybody right now. So there you go. But it's the same psychology. When Tom Brady throws 4 interceptions, he comes back the next week, he's pissed off. But he's got to be able to do it against the team he can do it against. So if a team like Jacksonville loses, well, they might get mad, but they don't have enough talent to win the next week. When Indy loses, and I've locked Indy a lot in the last few years with luck, they'd lose their first 2 games against good teams, and then they'd be at home against Jacksonville or Tennessee, and they kill them because now they have to win. That's what you're looking for in gambling. The team off of a loss that has to win gets fired up, and you want them against the team they can beat. And once you find that, that's how you get a lock in football. Ohio State losing to Michigan State killed Michigan. Alabama off of the loss to Ole Miss killed whoever the next week. That's what you're looking for. But some teams, they lose, but you can't. The matchup they get the next week, you can't really play them. They're not going to dominate them. So you're looking for that strong team off of a loss, getting pissed off, playing a team that's kind of weak that they can dominate, and they're going to pound them. And that's the lock in football. And it could be New England, it could be Denver, it could be Pittsburgh, it could be Green Bay, Minnesota, it could be, but it's got to be a good team. If Frisco loses, who cares? They'll probably lose the next week. Arizona also. Seattle, I mean, usually when they get rolling and they lose, they come and they pound you. So that's what you look for. It's all psychology. Teams play much better after a loss. So sometimes it's a tough game. You don't know what to do, but you look for the team off of a loss, and that's one of the methods that Teaser King does. Is I'll write down who's off of a loss, and I'll mark the teams. But sometimes you can't do anything about it. You just got to let it go because they're playing. If Penn State loses to Illinois, they're going to be fired up, and then they got to play Ohio State. Well, you ain't betting Penn State there. Forget about it. But if it's Ohio State, they lose, and then they play an average team the next week, you pound them, they're going to kill. It's off of a loss. They get really upset and really focused. And that's what happens. It's complacency. You start winning, you kind of start relaxing. A la Oklahoma State, a la Toronto. Toronto is very relaxed now. Hey, we beat them. We know we can beat them. Yeah, they're confident, but they're relaxed. And the other team is fired up. Cleveland, Golden State. So Oak State's going to come in relaxed. Golden State's going to be pissed off. Golden State blows them out. And that's just basically what you look at in football. But you got to be careful about injuries, and you got to be careful with matchups. It's got to be the right matchup, but that's the psychology. You're getting the best play of the team after a loss, but they've got to be a very good team and able to dominate their opponent, especially a bad loss. Arkansas, I think, lost to Toledo last year, and then they started rolling because they got really pissed off. So you got to, a lot of times you'll go, oh, God, Arkansas is terrible. They lost to Toledo. That's why you got to know the team. But then off you go. One quick note on baseball. When I get rolling, I get rolling. It just comes out. I'm trying to help. As I say, don't shoot the goose that lays the golden egg. I have to say, I was kind of like, I posted the Cleveland lock on one of the Facebook forums, and some guy called me an idiot or genius. He says, but he was being negative. He says, well, the game's tomorrow night, genius. And I'm saying, I know, but I'm trying to tell you to bet it now instead of the line jumping, genius. And I'm saying, don't shoot the goose that lays the golden eggs. I'm giving you a lock, Cleveland, and you're worried about it. It's tomorrow. And it's like, dude, it doesn't matter what day it is. I give you football games on Thursday that are on Sunday. Hello, what's the difference? So anyway, take the games for what they're worth. I'm giving you winners. Stop. Oh well, it's not today. It's tomorrow, and it's like, come on, guys. Anyway, so that's what's going on. Oh, and one other thing in baseball, the way I'm analyzing baseball is becoming very, very successful. There's 4 ways to bet it, like you bet football. You can bet either pitcher, or you can bet the over or the under. When 2 strong aces are playing each other, it's very tough to pick one. You play the game under. When the 4th or 5th pitchers are playing each other with the big high ERAs, you just simply bet the game over. You don't worry about the team. And then when the ace plays the 4th or 5th place pitcher, and you're not sure over under, then you play the ace over the 4th or 5th starter. So that's the 3rd way to do it. So ace versus ace under, 5th versus 5th, or 4th versus 4th over. Ace or 2nd plays 4th or 5th. You bet the ace of the 2nd. And so you can bet the teams that way. So I'm betting a lot. I'm really getting these over-unders. I was very successful in football, betting the Western Kentuckys and the Memphis and the teams with the good quarterbacks, putting up 50 points and winning the overs ridiculously easy. And also the unders with Tulane or with Toledo or Temple, which had very strong defenses and weak offenses. So, and you can look for that in baseball. Really good pitching, like Tampa, really good pitching, no hitting. Detroit, really bad pitching and good hitting. So you look for those type of teams. You look for over teams and under teams. And when an over plays an over, you bet it over. So if Boston's playing Detroit, go over. I mean, 9 runs is nothing. All right, I touched on a bit much, but I wanted to give you the locks. They're free. Just remember where you got them when football season rolls around. www.teaserking.com. I've noticed the first week of college football, the games are out there. I've already spotted 3 or 4 easy winners. I don't have lines, but it doesn't matter. Whatever the line is, I make my own lines, and I'll be pretty accurate with it. But I want to see the new quarterbacks before I make all the picks. But I think UCLA is a strong one with Rosen back. Anyway, good luck to everybody. Pound these 2 NBA games, very strong. They're both locks, and they both will be easy winners. I mean, this is exactly what you want. Very strong teams off of a loss at home. They're going to kill. All right, everybody, have a nice night. www.teaserking.com. Thank you very much.